Hi there, it's Fiona Harrold. I'm delighted to be with you today, and I'm so delighted to bring to you, all the way from LA, Ms. Marisa Peer, who needs no introduction because you all know that she is the UK's most well-known celebrity therapist. She's been on television, she's had best-selling books, you probably all know them. I Am Enough. Um, is it I Am Thin? She's got
You can be thin,
to be thin.
ultimate confidence, and I am enough.
There we go. There you go. So we're very lucky to have her today. And the reason that Marisa is so relevant to our times is that, at the moment, is that she is an absolute expert on how to manage your emotions so that you feel better very quickly, frankly, without years of therapy. So, Marisa, I thought it'd be so great for you to talk about maybe to talk about how we find it difficult to love ourselves and perhaps how that affects our confidence and the level of fear and anxiety that we might be carrying at any particular time. Over to you.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is an acquired fear. I always tell all my clients, look, we're not born with we're born with two fears, the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling backwards. There are no other fears. We're not born with a fear of cats or dogs or heights. And babies love themselves. I mean, babies will play with the contents of their nappy. Babies don't go, oh gosh, I've got spots, fat legs, no teeth, no hair, I'm not lovable. In fact, the first thing that happens to a baby when they're born is you become inspected. The doctors count your fingers and toes, parents inspect you, relatives and look at the baby. No baby looks and goes, don't look at me, I haven't got any hair, or I'm naked, or yeah, I'm covered in some kind of body fluid. They just smile at you and gurgle at you and expect you to love them just the way they are. No baby says, oh, I've got secondhand clothes on. I'm sleeping in a little box. I'm not worth as much as someone else. So it's very good news to know it's acquired, because if you acquire it, you can get rid of it. And then this problem begins of believing we're not enough. And it tends to start from, first of all, parents comparing you. I love you more if you're good. Your sister could walk when she was 2. Your brother could read when he was 4. Your niece, she doesn't get food all over the floor. And then it starts when we go to school. All schools see, we encourage individuals, but they don't. They have the top class for reading, the bottom class for reading. And they have that awful thing. I remember where at sports, you pick your team. There's always some kid who's the last picked. People groan when they get picked to join their team. We have prize day, which means every time you give one child a prize, you give 20 other kids a failure. And then we have brothers and sisters. And so we have this awful comparison, which has got a million times worse. I'm now seeing parents put their kids on Instagram, use their kids, dress them up and take their photos. And don't think your baby doesn't know what you're doing when you're going, come on, no, smile, do this. I want you to look like that. We're creating a generation of people where all we do is compare them. And then we have magazines, and what do? You compare yourself. Someone else is thinner, younger, taller. They've got breasts up here and yours are down there. And they've got perfect, glossy, shiny hair. They've just given birth and they look like a supermodel. And television does exactly the same thing. And you think, wow, what is going on? I mean, I live in LA. They don't have any anchor women that don't look like models. They don't have any normal looking people appearing in magazines or on television. I mean, we have Oprah Winfrey, but she had to create her own show to do that. And it's a great shame, because what it does is it says, I'm not enough. Someone else is younger than me, prettier than me, taller than me, funnier than me. I'm not funny enough. I'm not interesting. I'm not smart enough. And once you buy into that I am not enoughness, you keep it going. And it can start so early when your parents say, you were meant to be a boy. We saw that with Princess Diana. She knew she was meant to be a boy. She talked about that a lot. And so if our first feeling is, oh, you're disappointed in me, I'm not enough, we don't actually ever know how to undo that. And the problem is that a small child until the age of 5 lives in a world of emotions. They don't have logic. Logic doesn't exist. It's just feeling. And when a child is feels the parents are disappointed, and they can never work out, oh, my mum wanted a boy because that's what my mum wanted a girl because my mum needs me to be perfect because her family thinks she's not good enough. So if ever a child feels the parents are disappointed in them, they don't stop loving the parents, but they definitely stop loving themselves. And we'll often see in a store, the child says, Mummy, can I have some chocolate? Don't ask me for anything. Don't show me up. Who do you think you are? We use these throwaway lines. You're so greedy. You're so naughty. You're so bad. And children are like sponges. They have to take that in. And once it's in, they don't know how to get it out. So our inability to love ourselves is something we are not born with, but we acquire very, very quickly. And we can look, I always think Marilyn Monroe was such a great example because her parents gave her away and had no interest in her. And she grew up with that belief, oh, I'm not enough. But if I become famous, the whole world will love me. And like many people in the media, she pulled it off. Everybody loved her except for her. And if everyone loves you except for you, it's a complete waste of time. But when you love yourself, you've cracked it. And there are so many people in the media, current and present. We can look at Heath Ledger, Michael Jackson. We can even look at Donald Trump, who has such a need for everyone to like him. And if you only liked yourself, you wouldn't be needy. Needy is unattractive. And so you need to go back and start to fall in love with you. The longest relationship you'll have in your entire life is with yourself. And when you can fall in love with yourself, you make it easier for other people to fall in love with you, but you take away the need for, oh my God, can you love me? Can you love me? I just need you to complete me. Well, you don't need anyone to complete you because you're not an incomplete person. You're not half, so don't look for your other half.
Yes. And also, as you were saying, I was just thinking about Paris Hilton, because of course she came out recently and did that documentary. And one of the things she was saying, Marisa, I'm sure you've seen it, was that her drive to make money is to be happy.
Yeah.
She decided if she could only make 100 million, literally, she could be happy. She doesn't sleep at night. Her relationships don't work out. I mean, she's just the unhappiest person. And I'm just thinking, if only, as you're saying, she could learn to love herself, her life could be so much easier.
I mean, there's so many fascinating documentaries. Mystify about Michael Hutchence was the same thing. Being Me by Amy. Can I Be Me by Whitney Houston, the documentary on Amy, the documentary on Taylor Swift. They all show the same thing. I'm not enough, and so I need more. You see, I found out that the common denominator of all our issues comes from I'm not enough. I'm not enough, so I need more drugs, more drink, more cake, more screen time, more shopping, more praise. When you think you're not enough, it makes you very needy. And when you know you are enough, it fixes all of that. But there isn't enough stuff or substances in the world that can fill that emptiness that comes from believing it, because it's an emotional hole. You can't fill it with, you can't Netflix it or eat it or drink it or medicate it. You have to go back and fix it yourself. And it's actually incredibly easy.
Would you be able to give us some guidelines, show us some?
Sure. I mean, I was really lucky, immensely privileged, because all of my clients in my 33-year history showed me what was wrong with them. And time again, we come back to, oh, I'm not enough. I'd work with, I worked with someone in London who maybe was a single mother with a baby, have a job they didn't like, and would say, I'm not enough because I don't have my own home. I have to buy all my stuff in secondhand stores. And that would make sense. But then I'd suddenly meet a billionaire living on a yacht who'd go, well, I'm not enough. And I'm sure when Paris Hilton has 100 million, rather like Kim Kardashian, you'll realize, well, that's not, Kim now wants to be a lawyer. Why is that? Ask her, why would she want to be a lawyer? Because that would make her feel enough. Now she's intellectual and doing something worthwhile, because when you do something vacuous, you always think, well, I'm not really enough. So how do you fix it? You have a voice in your head that says, I am not enough, and you need to change that voice to I am enough. One of the rules of your mind is that we are hardwired to run back to what is familiar. while avoiding what is unfamiliar. If you have never been praised or not been praised, and people say, oh, you're useless, who's going to listen to you? You'll never be able to do that. That's not going to work out. If you don't get praise, when someone says, hey, you're amazing, go, who, me? No, that was just a fluke. I don't know how I pulled that off, because you're rejecting what is unfamiliar praise and adding in what is super familiar criticism. So all you have to do is to make I'm enough familiar. You have to say it a lot. Writing it on a piece of paper, on a sticky note on your fridge is lovely, but that's a message. You need to wire and code and fire this in. So my advice to you is write it everywhere. Write it on your mirror in lipstick or marker pen. And when you clean your teeth, don't just say it, I'm enough. We don't try. Make sure that every time you take a shower, you have a little ritual, as I showed, I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough. You need to say it every day. You need to have it written on your fridge, in fridge mode, on your mirror. You might notice I have these little bracelets that say I'm enough. I have another one here. I have it on t-shirts. I have it on cushions. And a great thing to do is to ensure that somewhere you put it in your password. You obviously need to make that super secure, lots of squiggles and dots and capitals. But when you have to type it, I'm enough to open my phone, I'm enough to open my computer, it becomes not what I'm doing, but who I am. The mind learns by repetition. And there are so many ways to get I'm enough into your life. You can stamp it on your toast if you want to. You can write it in sand. You can have artwork all over your house. It doesn't matter what it looks like. But when you make it a living, walking, talking, breathing affirmation, your mind will let it in, because your mind doesn't know. And it certainly doesn't care if what you tell it is right or wrong or true or false. So you have to say, people say, but it's not true. Who cares? Neither is saying my legs are the size of a tree trunk. I've just eaten like an out of control pig. I haven't slept for a week. My partner is making me go crazy. None of that is true, by the way. We all lie to ourselves every day. I'm exhausted, I'm shattered, I could eat a horse. These are not statements that are true. And since we all lie to ourselves, you might as well tell yourself a better lie. I'm enough. I'm significant. I matter. I'm lovable. Just doing that on a regular basis will, I promise, change your life.
And just out of interest, can you think of anyone who was a great example, apart from yourself, obviously, but who's a great example of someone who is just so comfortable with themselves, so not needy?
I would say Barack Obama is probably a great example. You know, he doesn't go and going, please like me, please like me. If you don't like him, he doesn't get upset. I think Michelle Obama, again, is very similar. I think there's a lot of people out there that we forget who are very comfortable in their own skin, who give this vibe off as, I know I'm enough. I know I'm good at what I do. That's great. If you don't like me, it doesn't matter. I mean, many years ago, I was watching X Factor and Will Smith was singing Light My Fire. And Simon Cowell said, that's not very good. And Will said, Simon, it's amazing. You could never say that wasn't good. And Simon went, you know what? You're right. It is good. It is amazing. And I love that. He had a sense of self, not to get upset or to get angry. He just didn't let that in. He said, that's not true. It's amazing. There's a great story of Celine Dion sending a cassette tape. That's how long ago, I think it was to Sony, to somebody. And then she called and said, did you listen to it? They said, we didn't like it. And she said, you didn't listen to it. If you had heard my voice, you would have loved it. You clearly didn't listen to it. And the confidence of it wasn't like, how dare you? She didn't cry, she didn't get angry. She just said, oh, you haven't played it. I get it. But if you play it, you would never say no to me. And they were so surprised at her calm certainty that resonated, that they got it out, found it, played it, and made history and signed her immediately. Because you have to, in your enoughness, you must learn not to let in criticism. Something I don't like, you go, well, that's a shame, but I can live with that because I like me. I'd like you to like me, but you know what? The most important thing is I like me. I go to bed every night and I wake up every morning with myself And if you like me, that's lovely. But if I like me, it changes my life. And the problem is that when you give someone else the agency, like, could you, Fiona, like me? Could you tell me I'm amazing and funny and something? You go, yeah, sure, I can do that. But you can also say, I'm not doing, I found someone much better than you on my show. I don't want to have you on anymore. In fact, your program's got the lowest ratings. If I give you the power to make me feel good, I also give you the power to make me feel bad. If I give myself the power to decide how I feel, that doesn't mean you can't enhance it, and that's wonderful, but it also means that you can't take it away. So he made me feel terrible. You know, all these songs, you're the only girl in the world for me. And then actually, no, I found someone taller, better than you, and now you're not the only girl in the world. And we give other people power to decide how we feel. We give teachers the power to do that. We give store assistants the power. Do I look okay in this? Oh no, that's not your color. Oh yes, you look amazing. But you mustn't give your power away. You have the power to feel amazing every day if you only knew how.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, you must be surrounded by people who are potentially very, very insecure, because ratings are everything. Their show, are they popular? The Real Housewives, you and I met and we had breakfast a while ago in London, and we were chatting about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I've got to say, I do love Lisa Vanderpump. I really do, because I feel that she is a very genuine and self-assured person. And I think she represents us Brits very well over there. I really do.
I love Lisa because, you know, she's got a sense of herself. If you don't like her, she's not going to go home and cry into a pillow. She's got a husband that loves her. She's got 2 children, one she adopted. She loves animals, and she's doing a great job with Vanderpump Dogs. And she may come across as almost too brash, but that's television. But if you met Lisa and said, hey, Lisa, I don't know if I like you or not, she wouldn't lose sleep over that because she likes herself. And here's the weird thing, people come to me and say, you know, I just want to be more confident. There's someone in my office, I so admire them. When we say, hey, can we all collect money for this person? They go, I don't know who that is. And I'm not giving money every week for someone I've never met. No. Go, well, I really admire that. Why don't you do it? Oh, I couldn't in case people didn't like me. But you've just said you like this person that says no. But we're so busy trying to make everyone like us. And we need to remember the most important words you will ever hear by none are the words you say to yourself. And the most important opinion is yours. And if you want to do something right now to feel good, just take a minute and think of what I call the missing bit of you. What are the words you want to hear? I mean, this is not rocket science. We want to hear, I'm proud of you. I love you. You're amazing. You matter. You're incredible. And many of us have parents who didn't say that. And we go around going, hey, I need to find someone to tell me I matter. I need my boss, my partner, my friends, my kids. I'm needy. And you're needy because you haven't realized that you have to do it. So think now about what you've always wanted to hear and say it to yourself. It was so funny. I was brought up, I was the middle kid. My brother was the super smart one. My sister was the pretty, gorgeous, enchanting one. And I always felt like this thing in the middle, this freak that was ugly and geeky and not really very smart. And I certainly was never the favorite. But I decided one day to say, I'm the favorite. For some reason, I needed to hear that. And so I began to say it over and over again. And what was so bizarre is I began to feel like I was. And then even more peculiarly, my father started to say to me, you know, you have impressed me more than all the others. I'm so proud of you. I can't believe what you've done. But what was even weirder is when he did it, I thought, oh, look at that. I've wanted that my whole life and now I've got it. I actually don't even need it. I wanted my mum and dad to say, you're the special one. You're the one that we're so proud of. And they both did. And I thought, that's so funny. I don't even need it now because I did it myself. So it really works. You know, I work many times. I have some 17-year-old kid in my office or 15-year-old kid, especially boys who say, no one loves me. I've never seen my dad. My mum's got 3 other kids. She never tells me I matter. And they're usually very angry because they're very hurt. And I go, no, darling, I would love to wave a magic wand and give you that. But all I can tell you is this. If you had an amazing dad, what would he say? And of course, usually they go, whatever. I say, no, come on, you know. And then together I get them to say, you're a great son. I'm so proud of you. And honestly, I have seen kids that close to being violent and going into the prison system turn their life around by filling themselves up with the words they wanted to hear. And I would say, look, if you had chapped lips and you put salve on them, that's balm for your lips, but words are balm for your soul. And your mind doesn't go, hey, that lip salve, is it organic? Is it fair trade? Is it good? Is it a cheap one you got free in an aeroplane? It doesn't matter. It lets it nourish your dry skin. And words will nourish a hurt soul. And it doesn't matter where they came from. In fact, they have more power if you say, if I said to you, hey, Fiona, oh, you're the best. I love you. You're amazing. And I big you up. I may have an agenda. Mm-hmm. But if you say it to yourself, your mind knows, well, there's no agenda because you're saying it to you. And honestly, there is nothing that will raise your self-esteem like self-praise. When other people praise you, it's like, what do you want? What do you want? What are you after? What you're doing? But when you do it, there is no agenda. So you need to every day wake up and go, hey, I love myself. I'm warm. I'm nice. I'm kind. I'm smart. You don't have to worry about, the details of, no one ever says, I love you because you're a Beverly Hills dentist. Yeah. No one ever says, I love you because you've got money in the bank. They may think it. People tend to love people because they're warm and kind and nice. And think about why you like all your friends. It's not because they're perfect. And then allow yourself to understand why they like you. But look at the praise you never got and give it to yourself every day. Starts off being a little uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar, and then it becomes super familiar. Then it stops being what you do. It becomes who you are. And I promise you, I guarantee it will change your life.
I love that. I love that so much, Marisa, because it's clearly true. It's worked for you and all the clients and people that you've helped and people who've read your books. I know that. And the thing I really love about it is that it's so simple, for God's sakes. I mean, right now I'm thinking of someone who desperately needs to do this. And she's probably thinking that she needs years of therapy. And frankly, other people are probably thinking she needs years of therapy because she's had a difficult childhood. But then who the heck hasn't? Who's had a perfect childhood? But honestly, I'm going to let her see what you've just said to me. I'm going to show her this recording. I'm going to tell her this straight away. I'm going to get her doing this.
Yeah. And you know what's so great is it's easy. It's free. It's instant. The strength really is in it. So if you say, okay, I'm going to wake up and go, I'm a goddess. Your mind goes, you're not really a goddess, are you? Because come on, you live in an apartment, you buy all your clothes in Tesco. That's not a goddess. I'm a rock star. You go, you're not a rock star. You don't even have a rock star's life. You haven't even got a car. But when you say, I am enough, I'm enough, I matter, I'm significant, I'm lovable, the strength is in its honesty, and it's because it's true. And if we all could wake up every day and say that to ourselves, write it on our mirror, make a little mantra. But also if you have children, have your children say around the breakfast, I'm enough, I'm significant, I matter, I'm lovable. I know this works because I've been doing it in schools, and they've said what's extraordinary is it stopped bullying, because the bullies never think they're enough. No one says, oh, my life's so great, who can I diminish today? Bullies never feel enough, and they find children who also don't feel enough, and trolls do it to grown-ups too. And if we could only all take responsibility for feeling enough, we wouldn't give it to other people. It would make us stronger. And of course, when you recognize your own enoughness, you also recognize other people's. You don't need to diminish anybody, and no one can diminish you. And it just makes the world a much nicer place.
Totally. And it probably allows you to be actually a more generous person.
Yeah, a nicer person.
You're not so wrapped up in yourself and your needs and getting your needs met.
Of course. It's a bit like a seesaw. So here's a little seesaw. Here's somebody and here's you. And we all want to be equal. But you see, you're here happily being you, but the person at the other end may have a different belief, which is, oh, you're better than me. And if you're on the seesaw with someone who's insecure, they only have two things they can do. They can diminish you. Sorry, my cat, could you take this cat away? Because he's just trying to put his head over the screen and he keeps moving it. So I'll let you cut that bit out.
Not at all.
Here we are. Here's you and here's someone else. And in an idea, we're all equal. I'm me, I'm you, I'm not better than you, you're not better than me. We've all got something to offer the world. But if the person on this end feels you are better than them, they have two choices: elevate themselves or diminish you. It's often quite hard to elevate yourself. It's easier to diminish someone else. And when you diminish them, you want this to happen. The person doing it feels that this is what they're there and you're there. And they don't actually want equality. They want a little bit of superiority. So they try to make that happen by diminishing you or elevating themselves or both. And here's your choice down here. You never, ever have to let that in. People can say whatever they want. You can say, oh, you're having a bad day, or hey, thanks for sharing that. Luckily, I happen not to agree. It doesn't matter. If you don't let it in, that in itself will change your life. Not letting in criticism and simultaneously massively praising yourself will change your life, not for a day, but forever.
And if there was one final thing that you wanted to say, Marisa, I know you've got to go. So if we wrap up, and if there was just one final thing you want to offer people.
It would be the same thing. Know you're enough. When you know you're enough, it changes. You're like, I'm saying, well, if I know I'm enough, aren't I just going to lie on the sofa eating potatoes? Just going, well, I'm enough. I don't need to do anything. No. When you know you're enough, you become aware, well, if I'm enough, I can get a promotion. I can get a pay rise. I can find someone to love me who I don't think is out of my league. I can actually start to work on myself. I'm enough. I don't need to be better. But if I'm enough, I can treat myself better. And so everything stems from knowing you're enough. You know, I teach people RTT. We've taught now 7,000 therapists all over the world are transactional therapy.
Yeah.
And I say to them, look, let's make your life easy. It's like that song, make it easy on yourself. When your clients come in with a shopping list, I drink too much, I eat too much, I'm very needy, I shout at my kids. Look at what I call what lies underneath. 1/3 of all your clients, at least, probably more, have the not enoughness. And that's why they eat too much, drink too much, and are needy. And you don't need to treat the symptom. You need to treat the underlying problem. And when you do that, you change everything. And people come back and go, wow, you know, I'm doing this with my kids now. My husband said, gosh, you don't shout anymore. You're so different. They still leave peanut butter smears on the sofa. They still leave their dirty pants on the floor. They don't change, but you change. And we spend so long trying to change other people. But when you can understand what runs you, and so there's only 3 things wrong with everybody. The first is I'm not enough. The second is I'm different, so I can't connect. That's huge. But the very fact that you feel you're different means you're the same. And your friend who you were saying could really benefit from this, I would guarantee that she feels different. Depressed people feel different. Addicts feel different. But when you can say, look, I know you think you're different, but you're the same, that's a game changer. And the third thing is I want something, but it's not available. In fact, everything that you need is available to you. So just keep telling yourself, I'm enough. I'm the same as everyone. Everyone is the same as me, which is a wonderful thing because now you get connection and not rejection. And what I want wants me. What I am moving towards is moving towards me. And if you could start your day reminding yourself of that, you wouldn't live in fear of rejection. Fear of rejection does so much damage to people, but nobody can reject you. unless you allow them to, and you never, ever have to do that.
Because you're not giving your power away to people.
Yeah.
You
You're
don't
not
need
saying
them.
to someone else, can you make me feel good? You're going, it's my job. It is my job to make me feel good. That I need to find someone to complete me. I'm looking for my other half. I'll be happy when I have love, when I have a baby, when I'm a size 0, when I have a promotion. That's just not true, because if it was, everybody who had a perfect body, an amazing partner, and a child of money would be happy. We see so many people. We can look at Britney Spears. I mean, what's going on there? This is a talented, beautiful girl with money, love, children. But it's not enough, because she's giving everyone else the power to decide how she feels about herself. And of course, we wonder why people become famous and then think, well, they should be having it, but they're always looking online for the criticism, the trolling. They're always checking the ratings. They're now in that, oh, I've achieved being enough, but now I've got to keep it going. And I remember Greta Sarchi saying, I'm so happy I've lost my looks. I'm so elated that I can just be at home and be normal, because I hated being in that race to be the most glamorous woman in FHM, because even when I won the award, I was always worried about not winning it the next year. It's nice to opt out of that fakeness.
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I'm going to let you go now, but it's so ironic, that your message is actually so needed where you're living now, in probably the most image conscious part of the world, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Beverly Hills. So you are probably needed over there. But I'm so glad that you're here for us, and we're going to get this message out, Marisa. And I'll make sure that all your contact details are around the video as well. I know you're super.
Thank you. Because we do have, if you go to marisapeer.com, I create all the time, and it's totally free. We don't ask for your credit card. And we have audios on love blocks, wealth blocks, health blocks, success blocks. They're completely free. So go to marisapeer.com, take whatever you want, give it to other people. If you want to find someone that does RTT, or indeed want to know how you can do what I do and train in RTT, go to rtt.com. And if you want some products on being enough, go to imenough.com.
Beautiful. I'll make sure all those links are on the video.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much. Thank you. Talk to you again. Take care.
And let's meet next time I'm in London.
Definitely.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.